All right, well, it's 12:01. We can go ahead and get started. And again, welcome to the North Carolina Composting Council's final ComCon event for International Compost Awareness Week. And again, those that are just coming on, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat by stating your name, where you're from, and if you're with a specific organization. And again, please turn your camera off and mute yourself if you're not a speaker. And today's webinar is community composting and drop spots. And we will hear from four speakers that will share their experience hosting a compost bin sale and a variety of other models for community drop spots. And some of the speakers will join us live while others have prepared a video that we will screen. And feel free to reach out to any of the speakers directly afterwards if you have any questions about their program. But we will have plenty of time for questions at the end. And also, if you miss any of our previous videos this week, they will be on the North Carolina Composting Council's YouTube channel. So some are already live, but they should all be released next week. And some of the videos include closing the loop on compostable packaging, vermicompost, and compost tea, and how to make your own soil mix. So please check those out afterwards as a resource. And again, we will save questions until the end, but feel free to use the chat function throughout the presentations just to go ahead and ask your questions. But I'll be monitoring that. And with that, we will have our first speaker. First, we have Sarah Davarbash. Sarah has been the Environmental Education Program Coordinator with Wake County's Solid Waste Management Division for 10 years. Sarah started her career in waste management in 2002 with the London Borough of Richmond, where she delivered composters to residents and coordinated the first organic waste curbside collection program in London, England. Sarah is a postgraduate of the University of Surrey in England and has a Master of Science in Water and Environmental Engineering and a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Protection. So with that, we'll let you share your screen.
Thanks, Christine. Share my screen now. Let me know when you guys can see it.
We can see it.
Awesome. All right, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me today. As Christine said, my name's Sarah. I work for Wake County Solid Waste Management Division, and I'm going to be talking about our annual compost bin sale that we offer each year in Wake County. We've been offering the sale since 2016, and we are currently live now. We have launched our 2024 compost bin sale on May 1st of this year. Just real quickly, I wanted to show you guys our business model for this sale, which really, I think, sets it apart from a lot of other sales. We use a third-party vendor. That's our business model for this compost bin sale. So there are three partners involved. There's the county. We handle marketing for this program and distribution, and that's kind of where our role stops. Everything goes through a third-party vendor. All of the orders for the compost bins, all the transactions, the sales, everything is done through our vendor. In this, for our sale, we actually work with a company called Brand Builders, and they're based in New Jersey, and that's our vendor. And then they work directly with the manufacturer, which is the Orbis Corporation, and they're based in Ontario, Canada. Brand Builders are a registered vendor to sell the Earth Machine compost bin, which is the bin that the Orbis Corporation manufactures. We do not deal at all with the manufacturer. Everything that the county does goes through our vendor. We really like this model. There is no financial risk to the county at all. We do not invest any funds in purchasing bins. We are not sending individual payments, checks, and cash is not coming through to our accounts team, and we're not having anything to do with any of the transactions at all. So our only involvement really is marketing and distribution. So in terms of the marketing, this is kind of where our big role comes into play. And we're really fortunate in Wake County that we have a awesome communications department that we partner with. And they have put together some awesome materials for us to use. We use printed ads in magazines, local magazines. We've had ads in the Triangle Gardener, Carolina Parent Magazine, Raleigh Magazine. We also do ads in our buildings as well, in elevators and in our offices, in our libraries, and parks as well. We put posters up at information kiosks, at a lot of county facilities. And then we do a lot of marketing on social media as well. We'll do some paid marketing through Facebook, but we also push our messaging through the county platforms, and they have a much bigger reach. So that's a great way to market the program. And then a lot of information is offered through our webpage. We direct everybody to our webpage first. And then once they come to our website, that's when the customer is taken over to the vendor's storefront. Unloading is kind of the next big role for us after we've marketed the sale, and we sell bins for the entire month of May, and we do it every year in May in conjunction with International Compost Awareness Week. Unloading is a really huge day for us. It's probably the biggest day. That gives me the most anxiety every year. These bins, we sell hundreds, and they come on a tractor trailer, a very large tractor trailer. They're delivered on pallets about 20 composters high. So they're about 6.5 to 7 feet tall. They weigh over 350 pounds. So you do need to have the ability to receive these and unload them. So you either need a loading dock or a pallet jack, or you need a forklift, and that's a pretty expensive item to have on hand and also to rent. We're very fortunate that our event takes place next door to our convenience centers and drop-off facilities where our contractor has a forklift. So that does make it easier for us to have access to that forklift, but unloading still takes hours. It's a big deal. So anyone thinking about doing this, really, you have to have help to get these unloaded. And then once they are unloaded and they're on the ground, you have to break them down. And that is, it's backbreaking work. And we do our sales in June, so it's very, very hot. These bins are earth machines, are black in color. They only come in the one color. They're shrink wrapped in plastic, and they get incredibly hot and burn everybody's hands. So just a little bit of insight there. Unloading is no joke for these, and definitely gives me the most anxiety when it comes to this program. But with that said, distribution is definitely the most fun for us. This is the part of the sale that I really enjoy, is getting to be with the customers and talk to them, and especially if they're new to composting, really give them the education that they need to be successful. We've tried everything. We've been doing this for 9 years, so we've tried the large pickup events for distributing compost bins. And we've tried going for a by appointment only. We found that in the beginning, the large pickup events were okay when we had sold a couple hundred bins, but when we were getting into the 500, 600, 700 numbers, it was very difficult to get all of the bins out at large events. And we also had a lot of people coming to us after the events had ended saying, I never picked up my bin, I need an appointment. So we have switched over now to going to by appointment only for pickups. We offer them during regular business hours. We use a lot of software to help with that. Our IS department have been paramount in making this program successful. They have pulled together multiple software programs to help make sure that everything is communicating properly. We use Microsoft Office at Wake County, so we're using Outlook to manage all of our calendars. We're using a program called Microsoft Bookings, which is wonderful as part of Microsoft 365 suite. It's a free program in that suite, and it basically talks to Outlook, and it's a scheduling piece of software. It's kind of like Sign Up Genius, but a bit more complicated. And the program talks to your calendar, and it talks to the resident directly. So the resident is able to schedule their own appointments, cancel them, make new ones, and it's not tying up staff with having to respond to emails from customers. They're doing it all themselves, which really helps. And then we also use Power BI and Microsoft Excel to manage our inventory, and those programs are able to talk with Microsoft Bookings and Outlook, so we know straight away what customers coming, what they ordered, have they picked up yet? So that all the software talks to each other, which is wonderful, especially when you're selling really a lot of bins to hundreds and hundreds of residents. It can get really overwhelming to keep track of orders and then make sure you have enough inventory. So these are some of the results we've had since we started the program. This is the number of composters that we've sold. We do sell accessories as well, but really when we look at results, we're focused on the bin sales. The accessories are things like a turner, a rodent screen base, and a pail to collect organic waste in. But it's the bin that we really want to measure the success of the program on. Since the start, back in 2016, you can see from the graph, we sold just under 300 composters through our vendor. Each year it was growing. We went up to just shy of 400 in 2017, 450 in 2018, jumped up in 2019. But then if we recall what happened in 2020, our sale launched in May of 2020, a couple months after COVID. Everybody was kind of at home on lockdown, and everybody was at home and wanting to learn how to compost. So we oversold in 2020. It was a wonderful problem to have, but it was very difficult to get that many bins out, which is really the game changer. It's why we switched from having large, big distribution events in prior to 2020, and then afterwards we moved to buy appointments to try and handle the volume of customers that we use in the program. So each of these composters, the Earth Machine composters, has the capability of diverting up to 500 pounds of food waste and yard waste from landfill every year. So we did a little bit of diversion. We looked at diversion rates to see how we could measure the success of this program, because it's really difficult to measure the success of a backyard compost bin program. We're not able to go into people's homes and measure weigh their kitchen pails. So it's your best guess. So just by looking at the numbers of composters that we sold since the beginning, and basing it on the fact that each of them can divert up to 500 pounds of organic waste per year, we have been able to divert quite a lot of organic waste from landfills since the start of this program. Our total is over 5,000 tons for the full, 8 years that we've been doing this, and with no financial investment from the county, no financial risk. If you look at the tipping fees, the Southway landfill tipping fees, $37 per ton. So if you times 5,000 tons diverted from landfill by the tipping fees, you're looking at over $200,000 saved in tipping fees. And there was no investment from the county in buying any of these bins. We didn't tie up our accounts team with processing individual small payments for bins. So there was very little skin in the game with the county, but the results are impressive. compare it to the cost per ton for drop-off programs. Really, the backyard compost bin program is that low-hanging fruit that we wanted to just grab. We had 3 towns out of 13 in our county that were offering discounted compost bins, but it wasn't enough to cover the entire county. So that's where we got the buy-in from management, um, to allow us to offer this sale, because there was a lack of programs in our county. And just showing management these diversion rates is really what buys them into wanting to offer something like this in their area themselves. We learned quite a lot of lessons over the years, and we're still learning. Each year we get better. Biggest thing I can say is just be really transparent with your residents up front. Not everyone is able to compost in their backyard. Some people live in HOAs that are very strict, so you want to make sure that you explain this to your residents up front. They might not be able to use a compost bin, and they need to do their due diligence and check ahead of time. That's something that we've discovered that we need to be upfront about with residents. Definitely want to communicate every aspect of the program to your residents. We switched from going from offering weekend events, pickup events, to only during regular business hours, and we were worried that there was going to be pushback from that, because we just found it difficult to find enough staff that wanted to work outside of regular business hours to offer these large pickup events. But as long as we were transparent about that at the beginning of the sale, and we said to our customers, we're only offering these bins to be able to be picked up Monday through Friday, there was no pushback afterwards when it came to pickup time. So being completely transparent about the entire aspect of the sale, everything is detailed on our website for the customer to understand the whole process of how the pre-order sale works, how they order the bins in May and they don't pick up until later in June. We learned as well that depending on how many bins you sell, large pickup events are not going to get all of your inventory out. And there's going to be a substantial amount of people that are coming later for individual appointments, which ties up staff time further. So we don't recommend offering both in conjunction, one or the other. We also learned not to oversell. So set yourself some goals is a great tip ahead of time. Understand your limitations in terms of staffing. Getting these bins out is very time consuming. We allow a 6-week window to distribute our bins. And then we cap our numbers based on how much time we have to send them out. We also had an issue with theft. Even though our property is locked up at 7 p.m., the public have full access to our drop-off facilities, and we were finding inventory was going missing. So you'll see an image in the slide of a gated lockup that we actually had to build to store these bins in, because they were disappearing. But I think the biggest the biggest piece for us in terms of lessons learned is really you have to offer education in conjunction with these bins. We've produced decals to put on people's pails. We've produced a one-page cheat sheet to hang out to people as they pick up their bins. We've also got videos. You can see a video of one of my co-workers on the screen. We put together a video showing how to people to assemble the bin as well as how to use their bin as well. And we also offer presentations, and we're offering a more detailed guide on our website for residents to download. But education is really key, as well as sending out these bins. We found that if you don't offer them education as well, the bins kind of sit in the back of the yard and they don't really do much to them unless they have some prior experience. We really like having the pickup appointments with residents. It gives us a small amount of time, 15-minute increments, to be able to speak one-on-one with the resident and answer any questions they have about composting. We've learned that everybody is different. Some people are completely new to the concept of it and don't know any aspect of composting whatsoever. So to have that time, that option to spend time with residents when they pick up their composter, we found invaluable to the program. I think that's pretty much everything about the compost bin sale. Um, we're currently halfway through the month, so we're still running our sale for 2024. Don't have any statistics yet to share, um, but everything's going well so far this year.
Oh, that's great to hear. Well, thank you so much for all your insights. I really appreciate it. And lessons learned. That was great.
Okay.
And next we have Sarah Morton. Sarah is an environmental technician and certified compost operator at the new Hanover County landfill. She has her bachelor's in environmental science and loves hiking, gardening, and of course, composting.
Hey, thanks for having me. Let me share my screen. Just a moment. There we go. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Sarah Morton with the New Hanover County's Department of Recycling and Solid Waste. Today I'm going to focus on our composting program and our food waste drop-offs. I'll start with a bit of background. Our compost operation at the New Hanover County landfill kicked off in November of 2017, and that's when we started accepting food waste from the public as well. Our compost system is an in-vessel system, which we'll go over how that works later. It can hold around 100 yards of material, and that amount is similar to what would fit in the back of like 50 large pickup trucks. We use food waste, animal bedding, and ground up yard debris to make compost, and we're getting between 3 and 7 tons of food waste from residents in a normal month. And that source of food waste has the least contamination of any food waste we receive. I mean, this makes sense. Individuals that are purposefully taking the time and initiative to separate out their food waste are not going to throw in silverware and plastic and other unacceptable materials. Residents can drop off their food waste at our compost site located at the New Hanover County landfill. They get to the landfill, cross the scales, and tell our attendants they are bringing in food waste. They then place their food waste in this area you see with the pumpkins, drive back to the scale house, and weigh out. Dropping off food waste is free with us as it helps make our operation possible. So if residents do not wish to come to the landfill to drop off their food waste, they can choose between 4 different locations in the county, depending on the day, to take their food waste to. Our Has Wagon is amazing, as it is a mobile location that allows access to many residents to drop off not just food waste, but electronics, chemicals, aerosols, paint, and so much more. This picture on the right is food waste in a 55-gallon drum that would have been sitting outside the Has Wagon. We can see some carrots, celery, some broccoli maybe. All great stuff to compost. Okay, so here's some materials we accept at our operation. The obvious fruits, veggies, bread, eggs, coffee grounds, and more. But what's great about an operation like ours is that we can take meat and dairy and pet food, a lot of items that one would be a little bit comprehensive if he or she was composting in their backyard. Okay. Materials we do not accept: plastics, anything plastic. Styrofoam, not only does it not break down, it just contaminates everything around it when it crumples. Liquids, we get all the moisture we need just from food waste. We don't need any liquids, but they're also just messy to maintain. Metals, grease, oils, also unacceptable. The perks of dropping off food waste. A lot of people just don't have the time or space to start a pile, bin, or tumbler set up in their backyard. Dropping off food waste may be the only way they can contribute to a composting operation. Also, like I mentioned earlier, dairy products like yogurt, sour cream, cream cheese, and meats, they can all be broken down in our operation. The reason most people do collect their food waste and drop it off with us, either at the landfill or the has wagon, is because they care about the planet and how we affect natural spaces and resources. And this is just a great way to keep that product out of the landfill. Okay, this is Huckleberry, our in-vessel composter. This shows a lot of our setup. We'll start with this large grain mixer in the front. So you can see mostly ground up yard debris, some food, and there's some animal bedding in there as well, straw and such. Augers mix these feedstocks together. So it'll get pushed out of the mixer onto this conveyor belt that feeds the compost into our in vessel. The volume of composting entering the in vessel on this conveyor belt can be adjusted. So the in vessel is constantly spinning, slowly, mind you, while feedstocks are being added. It cycles on and off overnight. It gets pretty hot inside. I've seen it get over 145 degrees Fahrenheit a few times. And hot temperatures kill seeds, pathogens, and fungal spores. In the back of the end vessel, there's a chute that pushes out compost that's traveled through it. And this compost enters a trommel, which screens out larger pieces and potential contaminants. The smaller pieces fall onto this conveyor belt we see here, and then fall in this area. This compost is then placed into a bunker. Inside the bunker, the compost cures. Basically, this compost is just resting, becoming more stable. It still gets pretty hot after a few days, but when the temperatures start to gradually lessen, we know it's done. Compost sits in these bunkers for a minimum of 15 days to follow our permit requirements. But more commonly throughout the year, curing compost will sit for a month or two before distribution when it's not our busy season. So this compost is finished, and that's me shoveling some compost into a bucket for the other Sarah that works at our department. We give our compost away to New Hanover County residents, and it's also used in school gardens. I just love these pictures Sarah, our program coordinator for the department, took of the school gardens. The picture on the right is of compost she delivered and shoveled out of a truck for the school. It's just really neat to see food waste turn into something beautiful and useful. All right, here's my contact information. If any of you have any questions after the webinar, feel free to reach out, and I'll leave this up for just a moment if you want to jot it down.
Thank you. Oh, that's great. And there were a couple of questions in the chat. So you could either respond or we'll talk through them at the end. But thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate it. And next we have Caroline Hausler. Caroline is the recycling education and outreach coordinator for Orange County Solid Waste Management. And Orange County did provide a video today. So Caroline is not with us, but we'll show a video and her contact information will also be at the end. So we have our wonderful executive director, Kat. If you don't mind, let's get the video going.
Diversion program. In this presentation, I will give an overview of the food
And
waste
Kat, I don't see the
locally
video.
commercial
I hear the
compost.
audio, but I don't see
Thank
it
you,
on the share
Christine.
screen.
Okay, let me try that again. Thank you for stopping it. Can you see that now?
Yes, and if you don't mind starting over, that would be great.
Yeah, and I'm gonna see if you can still hear it.
The residential drop.
Yep.
North Carolina has a population of 150,000 and includes 3 municipalities: Chapel Hill.
And do you mind starting it over?
No, not at
Yes.
all.
Okay, cool.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Christine.
Hello, my name is Caroline Hausler, and I will be discussing Orange County's food waste diversion program. In this presentation, I will give an overview of the food waste diversion program, the role of the county's commercial contractor, the residential drop-off sites, data, and the commercial food waste diversion program. For context, Orange County, North Carolina has a population of 150,000 and includes 3 municipalities: Chapel Hill, Carrboro, and Hillsborough. UNC Chapel Hill is located in Orange County but has a separate waste and recycling program. Orange County provides food waste drop-off sites to county residents for residential use. Drop-off is cost-free for residents because the program is funded by the Solid Waste Programs fee, a fee paid by all improved properties within the county. Material collected at the drop-off sites is picked up by a contracted private company and converted to compost at a local industrial composting facility. Orange County Solid Waste contracts with a local industrial composting facility to convert all material collected through the food waste diversion program to compost. Solid Waste currently contracts with Brooks Contractor, which is located in Goldston, North Carolina. Brooks subcontracts to the food waste collection service company Compost Now. Compost Now collects materials from Orange County's residential drop-off sites and commercial program participants and hauls the material to Brooks. Compost Now swaps out used carts for clean carts on collection day at the residential drop-off sites and commercial locations. Orange County currently supports 6 residential food waste drop-off sites. 3 of the drop-off sites are at Orange County Waste and Recycling Center sites, and 3 are at the farmers markets in Orange County. Only Orange County residents are permitted to use the waste and recycling centers. The farmers markets only collect food waste at their Saturday markets. Currently, Compost Now collects food waste from the county drop-off sites once a week. The program accepts all food scraps, including animal products, small bones, and table scraps. The program also accepts BPI certified compostable products, select paper products like paper towels and napkins, and small houseplants. The county offers a separate drop-off program for yard waste. Orange County has data on the food waste diversion program starting in 2016. From September 2016 through March 2024, roughly 6,235 tons have been diverted. Of that number, 240 tons have been collected at the Waste and Recycling Center sites, and 329 tons have been collected at the farmers market sites. Orange County also started a food waste collection service for commercial entities in 1999. The program is free to participants as it is supported by the Solid Waste Program's fee. Participants must be within certain quantity guidelines to stay in the program. The program is aimed at small to medium-sized generators. Large generators, such as grocery stores, are not eligible for the program. The program currently has around 70 participants, including restaurants, bars, and caterers. A large number of schools within the county were funding their own food waste collection program prior to the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The county is currently working on helping schools get started with food waste collection again. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation on Orange County's food waste diversion program. If you would like to learn more about Orange County solid waste management and the food waste diversion program, please feel free to visit our website at orangecounty.nc.gov/recycling. In addition, you can also contact our office via phone or email.
Awesome. Thank you, Kat. And again, if you feel free to reach out to Caroline if you want to ask specific questions, or even put it in the chat and we can follow up with you later. Well, wonderful. Well, our final presentation is a video from the Town of Cary. And we also have staff member with us. She's going to join us at the end, but I do want to do like a quick intro to Shrishna Guilford. She's the Waste Strategy and Community Impact Consultant for the Town of Cary. And she has over 15 years of municipal experience focused on environmental communications and the development of waste and recycling programs, community outreach, and engagement strategies. She focuses on planning and innovation of services to support waste reduction goals, including Cary's latest food waste recycling drop-offs and organic study. So she's energized by collaborative partners and is honored to serve as a board member of the Carolina Recycling Association. So again, first we'll see a video, and then we'll bring Shrishna on just to talk to me a little bit more about that organic study.
Welcome to Cary Matters. Councilmember Jack Smith.
And I'm Mayor Harold Weinbrecht. We created this program, Cary Matters, to help keep you informed about the issues that council members are working on for our community.
And today we're going to talk about the food waste recycling drop-off sites and how to start using these locations and other useful tools on our website to support your participation in our food waste reduction initiatives.
Sounds like a great topic, Jack. During a recent study, we found that 27% of residential waste in Cary was food waste, which jumped to 44% when including other compostables. Those figures really highlighted the need to focus on reducing organic waste. We opened our first location at the Cary Citizens Convenience Center on Dixon Avenue as a pilot program.
And our pilot program not only met, but exceeded expectations. And I'm thrilled we've made it a permanent operation, now expanding to a second location at Mills Park. Now you may be thinking, that is great for people who are always composting. But we're here to tell you that it is easier than you think to get started and to be an active part of the town's efforts to reduce food waste.
That's right, Jack. And if you're interested in learning more about this initiative, there's a lot of information on our website. And today we'll cover a couple of things to know about Cary's food waste recycling drop-off sites. So if it grows, it goes. We recommend collecting your food scraps and other accepted materials in a kitchen caddy or other convenient container. It may be helpful to line the container with a biodegradable Product Institute certified compostable bag or collect the materials directly in the bag.
Other accepted materials include coffee grounds and filters, tea bags, paper towels and napkins, non-glossy paper plates, BPI certified compostable items, pizza boxes, and pet food. And once you've collected these items, then it is time to drop the bag or empty your container at one of the 2 Cary food waste recycling drop-off sites. And then these sites are open to Cary residents and are completely free of charge.
That's good to know. From tracking the success of our open data portal, Cary citizens can see the impact of these sites. To date, over 200,000 pounds of food waste has been collected, resulting in an estimated 20,000 pounds of compost that is returned to Cary and is used at Cary's Good Hope Farm, which supports the local food system through events and workshops, farm-grown produce, and resources for new farmers. Check out the progress anytime on the open data portal to watch those numbers increase.
Cary goes beyond just listing information on our website. Throughout the year, Cary hosts classes about composting and how to get started using our sites or even starting your own compost bin. And this initiative would not be possible without the citizens, council members, and our environmental advisory board who advocated for this pilot. And a special shout out to our community partner, Towards Zero Waste, not only for all their efforts with our programs, but they were instrumental in helping to kick off the Lockmere Homeowners Association new voluntary compost initiative. And Lockmere's very first collection yielded 355 pounds of organic material that puts them on track to divert nearly 3/4 of a ton of material from the landfill every 4 weeks.
Wow, way to go, Lockmere. Towards Zero Waste is a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting waste-conscious living in North Carolina through inspiration, education, and action, and has partnered with the town in our successful environmental initiatives. You may see them leading our courses as well as welcoming citizens at the food waste recycling drop-off sites to help with any questions as items are dropped off.
It is truly a community effort, and initiatives like these strengthen our commitment to the environment together. Cary is setting an exemplary standard in effective waste reduction and sustainability. Well, that's it for this edition of Cary Matters. Your time is important, and we hope that what we've shared with you has been valuable and that we brought you closer to your government.
So let us know what matters to you, and maybe we'll talk about it on an upcoming episode. Until then, thanks for watching Cary Matters, and thanks for choosing to call Cary home.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I see Sean put a little context for that video.
I'm Trisha Gilbert, Cary's waste strategy and community impact consultant. And this was a council-initiated program, so I'm really glad that you were able to hear about it from our council and our mayor on Cary Matters. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the operations and design of the service. Cary's 2019 waste characterization study was really important in helping us talk more about food waste within our community. The results showed that 27% of what we were sending to the landfill was considered food waste. And so staff, council, and our board were really interested in exploring ways that we could provide a service to citizens and help them divert this material from the landfill. Over the next year, Cary also engaged with the local nonprofit Towards Zero Waste to think through the possibilities of collecting residential food scraps for composting. And at the same time, the Department of Environmental Quality also released their Community Waste Reduction and Recycling Grant for local governments with a special focus on food waste reduction programs. So Cary applied for this grant in the winter of 2020 and was awarded funds in the spring of 2021 and continued to partner with Towards Zero Waste to design our first pilot drop-off site. Towards Zero Waste helped to design and plan for this new site, but most importantly, helped provide marketing and outreach to our citizens so that they could participate in the new service. And in February 2022, Cary opened its first pilot food waste drop-off site at the Citizens Convenience Center located in downtown Cary. The new site would allow us to evaluate our community's receptivity to this type of service, but also allow us to see how much food waste we could actually collect. The site includes 3 65-gallon bins, as well as one 35-gallon bin, and free Biodegradable Product Institute certified bags for folks to take home so that they can continue to collect food scraps and return each and every week. Cary chose to locate this at our convenience center for a couple of reasons. One, it is a site that has been well known for drop-offs of all types of waste, and so it just made sense to put it here. It's also a staff site, which meant that we could not only answer questions that citizens had, but we could also keep an eye on the bins to help maintain it. And most importantly, we could track how many folks were coming to use this particular service at the site each day. The total cost for the pilot was $40,000, and that included construction and hauling costs. We put $14,500 from our grant funds towards those construction supplies, as well as educational and outreach materials, including free kitchen pails that we gave out to our citizens at workshops. It was also really important to design a service that would collect more materials that would normally be put in a backyard compost bin, as well as a service that would be circular in design in managing food waste. And so we accept a variety of materials, including pizza boxes and BPI certified products and raw meat and bones, as well as dairy products. And we work with Compost Now to take the material to a local processor who then returns a part of the finished compost back to Cary to enrich the soils at our Good Hope farm. Good Hope Farm receives the amount of finished compost that's equal to 10% of the food waste weight that we collect at our sites. We're proud to say that the pilot was deemed a success with over 26,000 drop-offs and collecting over 80,000 pounds of material. It soon turned into a permanent service at the end of its pilot year in February 2023, and plans for a second site started after that. And in February 2024, Cary opened its second site at Mills Park. This is an unstaffed site, so we're learning a little bit more about how this style of service works. And our citizens have done an excellent job at keeping the bins clean and using them. We've collected over 15,000 pounds in 3 months. In total, the 2 drop-offs have collected over 200,000 pounds of food waste in just over 2 years. And Cary is now studying the opportunities to expand food waste collection services in our community. Cary's proud to make composting more convenient for our citizens, and we continue to collaborate with Towards Zero Waste to help foster a broader understanding of the value of composting and its role in waste reduction. Opening these sites has been a tremendous opportunity to engage with our citizens and help them learn more about sustainable waste disposal options. You can learn more about this service and follow along with our progress using our open data portal at carync.gov or visit our official YouTube channel to watch the Cary Matters segment.
Awesome. Okay, now it's time to bring Trishna on. And if you just want to say a few words about the upcoming organic study, I think our participants would be interested in that.
Hey, Christine, thanks so much. Yes, our team is working on an organics collection feasibility study that's going to look at not only collection processes, but hauling and processing opportunities in our community. And it's going to help us understand what opportunities there may be to further expand on our residential collection services to divert more of our food scraps from the landfill. And so we are getting ready to wrap up that study soon, and it should be available to review later this year, but I'm hoping that we'll have most of the results this summer.
Oh, that's so exciting. And will it be published on your website for your residents to read, or would it be kind of more of an internal document?
Right now, we're still assessing how how this study is going to look. There is so much information. We actually are turning it to probably 2 volumes. So there'll be plenty of opportunity to share our results and our findings so that we can help foster, composting broader across our region. So really excited to share the learnings. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great segue actually into another question that we had in the chat. So if I could bring Sarah Morton back on, just want to make sure that we answered Merida's question of do you know if if there's any countywide residential composting in the works at New Hanover County?
So right now we're just running Huckleberry, and we, encourage backyard composting. We are going to set up an area to show different types of backyard composting. Um, but as far as having bins and either selling them or giving them away, I do not think so.
Yeah, it sounds good. And what about even just like curbside collection? Any talks of that maybe?
No, so residents can utilize both of our services, either coming to the landfill or dropping off at the Has Wagon. And then there's also other services in the private sector where people will pick up food waste, for their operation as well.
Yeah, awesome. And I do know that there are some private businesses that offer drop-offs too. So feel free to look in your community, maybe contact your recycling coordinator or county and see if there's any of those resources nearby you. Um, well, great. Well, presenters, if y'all want to actually turn your cameras on, we'll see if there's any remaining questions. But Sarah Morton, I actually do have another question for you. Do you keep the thermometers in your curing piles, the like entire length that they're curing, or do you check
Yes, I
those
do.
temperatures every day?
Yes, I record those temperatures every day.
Awesome. Cool. Good to know. Um, and Sarah, I have a question for you. What do you do with bins that are not picked up? I don't know if you already, I don't think you addressed that, but do you donate them or what happens?
Surprisingly, yes, we do end up with quite a few bins that people purchase, and then for whatever reason, they don't pick them up. So instead of hanging on to them, what we do is we give residents a firm deadline to pick up, and if they miss that deadline, we actually donate them for educational purposes. Um, so we send them out into the community, to local schools, public schools, private schools, charter, magnet, all of them, preschools, um, Montessori's, community gardens, local food bank gardens, church gardens, any community gardens that operate within Wake County. If they're looking to start composting, we will donate them with the leftover bins and equipment so that it's not sat there in the warehouse growing dust. It's fulfilling its life purpose, making great compost.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I see a comment in the chat that they also love that strategy, giving back to the schools. And Shrishna, I have a question for you. So it sounds like the new drop-off is unmanned and has been going really smooth with contamination. Have there been any kind of hiccups so far with that unmanned site, or it's just been running smoothly? And I guess one additional question with that question is, do you do the same education strategy when you know, uh, rolling that out? And do you think that's kind of contributed to the success of the unmanned one?
Yeah, so the first part, for your first question, we actually are really thrilled that it's running pretty smoothly. We talk very frequently to Compost Now, our hauler, to find out, how it looks in there. We do checks every day, then to check the bins and see what's happening, what people are dropping off, and Compost Now is happy, we're happy. And so we haven't had any kinds of issues with large contamination at all or anything. The other part of your question with the education, we have done a very similar strategy as the staffed station. And a big part of that was actually having volunteers at the site for the first month, a couple hours every other day, to talk to the citizens that were coming up and using the bins. A lot of the folks that we actually caught in those conversations were also folks that were just coming by to park in that area because the unstaffed site is at a park, and so it's in the parking lot. And folks were just curious as to what this was and how they could use it. And so we were able to teach them a little bit about what the site is, how to use it, and encourage them to come back. And what we found is that talking to folks early on at the site where they're coming to help them understand how to use the service really then fostered their positive behaviors on how to make sure they're dropping off the right things, contact us if they had questions. We made sure there's signage there that says, call our 311 center if we're out of bags, or if there's something that you need to learn more about at the site. And we have had folks call in and say, hey, the bag dispenser seems to be empty, and we can fill it up right away. So it's really working out, and the community is taking care of it with us. And so we really like that.
Oh, that's so great to hear. I love that. And we'll see if there's any. I see one other question, Shrishna and Sarah. Do either of your drop-off sites have water available for folks to rinse their containers immediately after they contribute to the food scraps?
We do not. The Has Wagon is a mobile, it's like the vans, so we don't necessarily have water hookup for that. And then at the landfill, I do have a hose there, but it's on the other side. I haven't seen people use it.
And Shrishna?
Same thing. We don't provide any extra water for them to hose out their bins. We haven't had any folks ask questions about it.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, I know some local governments suggest, just dropping off in a paper bag so you can just drop and go. And then I know Cary provides those BPI certified compostable liners. So that's a really great service too. So that might kind of help prevent people from having to clean their bin at the site. Good question. Let's see, any other questions in the chat? I know we just have a couple minutes left. And also feel free, if you want to ask a question directly to our speakers, feel free to turn your camera on and unmute yourself. All right, well, looks like we're getting some praises in the chat, some thank yous. So I think that we don't have any other questions, but again, feel free to reach out to our presenters directly if you want to talk to them more about their system. And it's just so cool to see that you can have a drop off at a park, convenience site, farmer's market, directly at the compost facility, and then also have that other piece of the home composting support that Wake County is doing. Those numbers are just amazing to see, especially the ones in 2020. That was just insane. So it's really cool to see how local governments are, getting creative and providing these wonderful services. So thank you everyone for joining, and look forward to seeing y'all again at the next ICAW.
Thanks, Christine.